Hi everyone, in this tutorial we want to speak a little about the modeling process. For one of my scene I needed to create a water tank, so I decided to share the process of modeling with you. And for the first step I had to search the web for a good reference, and I found this beautiful 3D assets, 3D game assets, and I think it's a good idea to create such this water tank but with a little changes. As you see, this water tank is created from a cylinder and a cone above it as this body, and the girders can be created by a simple box, and this tube will be created by a line, and I will show you how to create such this shape. So let's start our work. We will start our work with a cylinder. I will create a cylinder in the center of my scene, but I have created my cylinder, but it's not in the center. For putting it in the center of the scene, I will right click in the move button in toolbox and set the values to 0. Okay, now it's good. I don't need many segments, so let's decrease the height segments to something about 3 and the sides something about 12. I think it's good, yeah. And let's create a cone above that. For the next step I will create a cone and put it above that by aligning the cone with the cylinder. But how? You can click on Alt and A to enable the align tool, and click on the cylinder and make it align in the X, Y, Z position, and choose center for both, and click on OK and move the cone up by hand. Alright, it's time to adjust the cone parameters in the modify. So let's increase the radius 1, let's decrease the radius 2, let's decrease the height. Alright, I love that. Let's move it up a little bit, and I think height segments is good, and sides can be decreased to about 20 or maybe 18. I love it. It's good for the base form of my water tank body. And the next step is to create these girders. For the girders I start my work with a box in the top viewport. So in the top viewport I will click on box and create a simple box here, and let's set the parameters to a good value. I think it's good. And let's ensure the length, width, and height segment is 1, because whenever I want to start a model with a box, I leave the parameter segments as 1, the simplest way as I can, because whenever I want to or I need to add a segment to my box, I can do it by connecting in editable poly. So I leave it as it is and right clicked and convert it to editable poly. So now for starting my modeling, I need 2 segments here. One segment is here, as you see, and the other is here. Okay, and after creating these segments, I need to select these polygons here and then extrude them inside to create a shape like this. Let's do that. Let's select this edge, click on the ring to select all the edges ring, and right click and click to connect, and I need 2 segments and I need to put it in the right position. Okay, and click on OK. Now I want to click the polygons. I can select them by hand, one by one, as it is, or a simpler way is to select this edge, click on the ring, and while you are holding your control in keyboard, press the polygon. Alright, it's better now. The next stage is to extrude that. So right clicked and clicked on extrude. The extrude don't work well, so because it is in group by default, and you must change it to local normal, and then decrease its value to -1s to create your girder base form. Alright, let's isolate it by Alt and Q. And as you see, the base form of the girder is created, but it's not finished yet because because in the corner edges the light don't distribute well. Remember and keep in mind, when you are working with a box, you must not have corners with 100% sharpness. You must have at least a little bit chamfered. For doing that, we must give it some resolution by adding some segments and giving a turbo smooth to that. But what if I give a turbo smooth at this time? So let's try that. I will give a turbo smooth, and as you see, my correct form of the shape fades to wrong. And I don't need something like this. I want something like that, but with a little bit chamfer with the edge. Before correcting that, I want to speak a little about turbo smooth. What turbo smooth does when I give it to an object. Imagine I have a box. Imagine I have a box with a height, width, and length segments of 1. When I give a turbo smooth to this box, the turbo smooth subdivides my box, as you see in the middle shape in this picture, and after that it's time to make it smooth. For making it smooth, the turbo smooth selects the vertices in the corner and moves them in the average distance between the segments to make it smooth and make something like the right shape as you see in the picture. But what if I don't want something like that, and I want my box to have just a little bit chamfered in the corners? For doing that, I must block the way of the corner. I must block the way of the corner of the vertices, and say the turbo smooth, hey buddy, I don't want you to move the corners much. I want you to move it a little bit for chamfering these edges. And as you see, I have blocked the way of all the corners from all directions. Let me show you. Here is my corner vertices that is visible in this picture. Alright, I have more, but it's not visible now. And as you see, I have blocked the way of this corner from all the direction. I have blocked this for this direction, this direction, and this direction. And as you see, I have a quad here, I have another quad here, and another here. So if you had quads in all the planes around your vertices, you can ensure that you have done well. This process is called giving resolution to a model. For giving a resolution to our model, I will start my work. But first, let me show you the corners. Okay, my corners are here, 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 this one, excuse me, this corner. Okay, these are the corners that are visible in the picture, and I must block the way of this corner from all the directions. I must block this corner from these directions. That will give me something like that, and this too, and by adding some segments like this, for example. Okay, so let's begin our work. I will select my shape, go to edges, select this edge, add ring, click on connect, and give to connect to my work. And this one, these ones, and this, and this. Okay, I need two connects here. I think the process of giving resolution is done, and now I can give the turbo smooth to the model. And as you see, I have the model with chamfered edges, and you see the light acts well in the edges part. So let's continue our work. The girder is now created, and now I must duplicate this girder along the x-axis. But before doing that, if you have many duplicates of a shape, I refer you to unwrap your model before duplicating that. For that, I will give an unwrap UVW map. Open UV editor, select all the faces, and from the mapping menu, I clicked on the flatten mapping, and I think 45 is a good value, and clicked on OK. And I have unwrapped my girder, and it's time to duplicating it by going to Tool, Array, enabling the preview to see the result, and I want some copies during the x-axis, so I will set my value in the x. Okay, it's good, and 10 is much. I need less. Okay, it's good now, and I need my duplicates be copy, not instance. So I will click on copy and click on OK. All right. The next stage is to create the girders below. For that, I will select one of my girders, and then, for example, this one. And while I'm holding the shift, I'm moving the girder down. All right, and choose copy. And I will enable angle snap toggle and click on rotate, and rotate it 90 degree. And from other viewports, I will move it to the right position, something like here. Click on the vertices and moving the vertices inside, and check the place from the left viewport. And while I'm holding shift, I'm moving it along X to have a copy of that again. And again, holding shift, rotate it 90 degree. And move it to the right place. See that? Select the vertices, moving it. Good. And holding shift and copy it and put it in the right place. All right. And now I want to create the leg girders that are some L form girders. For that, I will start my work with a box. In top viewport, I click create a box. All right. I want more height. Better. I will move it down to the right position. I want the box to have equals length and width, so I give it to 8 value to width and height. And I want it to be a L form girder. For that, I will convert my box to editable poly. Select the polygons I want. I want this polygon and I want this polygon. These two polygons forms a L. Okay, now I must invert my selection by pressing Ctrl I in the keyboard and deleting extra polygons. Okay. Now I want a little change from this reference. I want some holes in the girder. For that, I will isolate my selection, click on this edge, click on the ring, connect it. Again, select this one, ring it and connect it. And select these edges and connect them. I think good. Alright. And I will go to polygons, select all the polygons, and then here in the name selection I give a name to the selected polygons. For example, I give the name of 1 to that, and go to vertices and select the middle vertices, these middle vertices and these middle vertices. For that I will select it from top, and here I don't want top vertices and I don't want down vertices. Here we go. Alright, it's good. Right click and click on chamfer. Here it is. We chamfered it and we have new polygons here. Clicked on polygon, clicked on the name of one, we gave the selected polygons, and as you see I have my previous polygons and the new polygons is not selected, and I invert my selection to select the new polygons and delete them. Alright, it's time to give a turbo smooth to the shape, and I have a L-girder with some holes in it. I want some thickness, so I will click on modify list and choose shell. There we go. Okay, the next stage is to unwrapping this. We will add an unwrap UVW map modify, open UV editor and select all the faces. Mapping 45 is good and click on OK. Alright. Convert all of it to editable poly and isolate, and it's time to duplicate it. For that I will use mirror. Select my L-girder and click on mirror and mirror it in x-axis as a copy, and let's set the offset to a good value. And now let's select these two legs and mirror it in y-axis and offset them. Alright, good. Now I need something similar for these parts. Okay, let's begin that. I need something similar, so I will start my work with a box again, but a narrower box. I move it down, good, and move it down, something like that. See it? Alright, good. Equal values for length and height. I give it 3 to both. Love this. Or maybe 3.5. And let's increase the height more. Alright. Now I convert it to editable poly. Select my polygons I want, invert by pressing Ctrl I and delete extra polygons. Now I'm giving it some holes again. For that I will add some connects. And here. Good. Select all these polygons, give a name to that. For example, I give the name of 2, click enter, and select the middle vertices. Okay, except up vertices, and down once. And right click and chamfer it. Good. Click on polygons, use the polygon named, and invert our selection and delete extra polygons. Give a turbo smooth again. Alright, and I need some thickness. Add a shell. Alright, and it's time to unwrap it. Open UV editor, select all the faces, mapping, flatten mapping, 45, and I think it's okay. Convert to editable poly. Now it's time to move it to its right place. Good. And use an FFD 2x2x2 and select these two control points. Select these down control points and move it in Y axis, something like that. Alright, beautiful. Move it back. Move it up a little bit. Right, that's good. And it's time to mirror that. Let's mirror it. I want to mirror it in the Y and X direction, so I will click on X, Y and offset it. Excuse me, I will offset it by hand. And move it a little bit back, like here. Good. Now I can convert it to editable poly and attach these two girders with each other and copy it. And attach them again, mirroring them. Alright, good. And moving it back in its place. Right. Holding shift, rotate 90 degree. Move it here. But I need some correction in these parts. For that I will add FFD 2x2x2. Select these control points and move them along X. Alright, it's good now. Convert it to editable poly again and mirroring it again in Y direction. Okay, good. And I will attach all these ones together. For the next step, I want to create these parts. For that, I will create a box. Move it down to here. Good. Let's change its height. And let's add some resolution to this. Convert it to editable poly. And here I will add some segments. There we go. And a turbo smooth. Convert it to editable poly. And now I will add some cylinder on this cube. For that, I will check auto grid so that I can create this cylinder in the normals of the face. And now I will create some cylinder and and let's change the size to something like 6. Convert it to editable poly and selecting this edge, this polygon, and delete that. And as you see, let's undo that. In the cylinder parameters, I don't want 3 height segments, so I set it on 1 and convert it to editable poly again. And I will delete this polygon. And as you see, I have 6-sided polygon here, but it's better to have quad polygons. For that, I will Alt and C. I will click Alt and C and enable snap by clicking on S. Actually, create a line here. All right, it's good. Let's disable a snap and let's move it on the cube. Let's scale it a little bit and let's copy that. 1 and 2. And let's attach them and use array to duplicate them. Good. And attach them again. Holding shift, rotate it 90 degrees. Put it here. And using mirror, copy, put it here, and again mirror in X and put it here. There we go. Let's attach all of them together. Alright, and unwrap them. Good. Convert them to editable poly. And now I must some copies of that. So let's copy it to this place. Let's copy them to this place. Let's select all of them. Copy them to this place again. Select them. Okay, good. And again, let's copy them to this place. Select these legs, attach them together. Use a FFD 2x2x2. Select the down control points and make them tall a little bit. Good. All right. Let's see the next stage. The next stage is to create this tube. For that, I use a rectangle tool. I will go to splines, clicked on rectangle and create a rectangle here. First, I will uncheck auto grid and create a rectangle here. Alright, convert it to editable spline, and then select these two segments, 1 and 2, and delete them. Alright, select this vertex and I must fillet it. So let's find fillet and fillet it. Alright, good. And the next step is to make it visible in rendering and in viewport. So I will, in the rendering tab, I will enable it in renderer and enable in viewport, and it's time to have some more thickness. So let's give it more thickness. As you see that, and isolate my selection. Let's convert my selection to editable poly and choose these polygons and delete them. I don't need them anymore. And let's select these polygons and detach them, but not as colon. So I unchecked detach as colon and clicked on OK. And select this one, go to hierarchy, affect pivot only, center to object, so that the pivots go to the center of this object, and give it a shell. And more value for other amounts. I love that now. Okay, the tube is now created. The next stage is to create the ladder here, the ladder. For the ladder, I use a rectangle again. In the front viewport, I will create a rectangle, as you see. Good. Move it out. And I will go to modify and change its mode from radial to rectangular and correct the parameters. I think it's good. Alright, now convert it to editable spline again and select the down segments and delete that, and select the up segment and detach it. So let's go to find the detach and detach this. Okay, now I have this one and I want to move the pivots in the center of this shape. For that, I will go to hierarchy again, affect pivot only, and center to object. But as you see, it doesn't move to center of that. Why this happens? Because as when I select vertices and select its vertex, as you see, it has some Bezier vertex. That's the Bezier is coming to this part. And the center of here and here is something like here. So I don't need Bezier vertices. So I clicked on select two vertices, right clicked and clicked on corner. Now, if I go to hierarchy again, clicked on affect pivot only and center to object, the pivot is center of my object now. Okay, let's go to modify. And we will go to rendering tab and change the mode from rectangular to radial and decrease the thickness, something like that. Move it down. Good, very beautiful. And it's time to unwrap it. Let's unwrap it, or we can add because it's not a cubic like this shape. I don't want to use flatten mapping, so I will add a UVW map to this and I will select cylindrical, correct its axis, and click on fit. Alright, now let's unwrap it again to see what I have. There we go. Now it's unwrapped well. Okay, let's convert it to editable poly and go to tools, array, preview, and let's duplicate to create this ladder. Alright, I love that. Select these lines, convert it to editable poly, isolate that. I want to add some details to it, so I will select the edges, connect them near the corners from each direction. Here it is, and here it is, and again this one and this one, and give it a turbo smooth. Unwrap it, open UV editor, give a flatten mapping to that. Alright, now I will select all the ladder. It's not finished yet. Okay, it's not finished yet. I need some lines again. For that I will create a rectangle, and check auto grid to create a rectangle from here, something like this. Change its mode to radial, decrease the thickness, move it in the center of this cubic shape, and decrease the thickness again. Alright, I like that. And convert it to editable spline. Delete these two segments. Here, select this vertex and fillet that. Move it here and fillet this vertex. Select these two vertices, click on fuse, and weld them together. Now move these vertices down here and move the bezier up to create something like this. And move it here. Good now. Alright, let's copy that. And let's convert them to editable poly. And attach them. And unwrap them. I think 65. And it's time to select all the letters. Alright, the ladder is now selected, isolate it, and attach all of them together. Something like this. Unwrap it again. Select all the faces, go to tools and pack UV. Here we go. And here's the ladder. The next stage is to copying these two four rods. Let's attach them together first. In this place and this place. And I want some boxes here. So let's create some box. Move it down. And give some resolution to that for giving some turbo smooth. Unwrap it, turbo smooth it again, turbo smooth it, unwrap it, flatten mapping, and putting them in the right position. And I need a cylinder in the center, so let's create a cylinder and put it in the center. Right click on the move and put it in the center and move it down. Change the radius and the height a little bit. Okay. Select all of them, give a gray color and change the clays to default shading. As you see, the water tank is created now. And one other thing is, as you look at this water tank, we have some tiles on the body of this water tank. You can create it in texturing process, but if you want to create it in modeling, you can select this cylinder, give it more height segments. I think 5 is good. More sides, I think 18 is good. And convert it to editable poly and select these polygons. Check that. Select just these polygons. Alright. Now I want to detach them as coulomb. Yeah. And let's select the coulomb layer as you see. And let's isolate that. Select one of its edges. Okay. Go to modeling part of your ribbon and in modeling in polygon modeling select generate topology and select your own topology. I think this brick form topology is good for that, something like this. And you can now select all the polygons, right clicked and clicked on inset and inset it by polygon. Alright, it's good. Something like this. Control I to select invert and delete extra ones. And add some shell to it. Do you see now? Alright. I think it's good for modeling it, and it's enough. I have explained all needed tools and all needed things about creating such this model, and I hope it was useful for all of you guys. And I don't want to go much further. Perhaps in the next tutorial I describe you how to texture it and paint texture on it in Substance Painter, but I'm not quite sure about that. Feel free to contact me with my email ali3dking@yahoo.com or Instagram ali3dking, or you can contact me with my LinkedIn or ArtStation. I hope it was useful, and let's finish this tutorial. Good luck.